Hi everybody, so welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hey, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like my video and I hope you stay a while. But anyway, this video is basically the part 2 to my eyeshadow look. If you haven't seen that, I suggest you go look at that first because I like to start off with my brows and my eyes. But this video is focusing on my face routine and how I do a light contour and highlight conceal type of thing, including my foundation and what I do. I also try to walk you guys step by step with some of the brushes I use. I will get better with describing what brushes I use, but I just wanted to give you guys like just the overall steps of how I achieve my face. So if you like what you see and you're interested in finding out more, keep watching, and if you make it to the end of the video, you know what to do. So let's go. So I'm starting off with a face primer. Primers allow makeup to go on smoother and last longer, so it acts like a base before moving on to your full face routine. After I moisturize, I always follow up with a primer, and there are different textures for primers depending on your skin needs. So it's very important to pay attention to the type of primers that you are looking for. What I'm doing here is using a color corrector. This one is like $3 or $4. For brown skin or dark skin, it's really good to use a red or orange toned one. And what I'm doing is just applying it, and then I'm gonna just rub it in and let it set before I follow through with my foundation. Color correctors basically cancel out any dark spots, any acne, scars, any hyperpigmentation you have in your face before going on with the foundation step, and it just makes sure that your application is just more even. Now this step is not necessarily a step that you need to do. I don't even do this all the time, honestly, but it's really good to see the different things that you can do during your foundation routine if you're learning. So when I'm trying out new foundations and trying to match myself, I usually apply to my jaw, my cheek, my neck, and my head to apply and just compare how the foundation sits in different places. And then I blend it in and let it sit down to see how it looks. Here you see a perfect match. It usually helps me the most when I compare on my cheek and on my jawline, because my jawline and my cheek is usually where the most hyperpigmentation is. And if foundation is not really your thing right now, then you can opt for a BB cream, or just make sure your skin is well moisturized. But if you are using a foundation, just know that foundation applied to your face creates an even and uniform complexion color, and your makeup just looks so much better with foundation. What I'm doing here is just blending in the rest of my face with my Real Techniques foundation brush. This brush is bomb, and it ranges from $10, $11, and I feel like it gives me a great blend. Sometimes I also use my beauty blender after, or use a brush or beauty blender, but I feel like this brush does a great job in blending out my foundation on my skin. Once again, this is the brush that I use from Real Techniques. It is bomb, y'all. So next, I'm using my concealer from Too Faced, and it comes with a great applicator stick where you can measure out how much you want to apply. But basically, concealer helps with highlighting different parts of my face and also covering dark spots on my face that I don't want to be shown in my full face look. So what I'm doing here is just applying it to the spots where they are usually darker, and I'm letting it sit and then blending it out. Concealer also helps me when I'm trying to start my contour process, and it helps me with this like kind of reverse effect. Yes. So what I'm gonna do now is take my expert concealer brush from Real Techniques and just blend out different parts. You can use a blender or a brush, and just make sure if you use a blender that it's damped and squeezed out. But today I'm starting off with the brush, and then I might follow through with a blender after. I usually opt, and I also recommend that if you're looking for a good concealer shade, that you just go up 2 to 3 shades lighter than your skin tone, and then trying to see how it look and see if you want to go a little brighter or darker. But I wouldn't suggest you going too light, because you don't need to be looking out here like a ghost. Because I also use concealer to begin my contour process, I also take the concealer in to the lines of my nose to begin the sculpting process and just make sure I'm defining my nose a bit more. Before I add the dark part of my contour process, I am going to go in with a damp sponge and just blend out those little parts a bit more. And then I am going to follow through with a setting powder and set in every spot that I put concealer on my face so that it doesn't budge. When picking a setting powder color, I usually pick the banana shade because I am brown skin and I just feel like it works better than the white shade. So right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking a little white and my lighting in this video is not really doing me justice, but just know I will be wiping this powder off after I let it sit for a while. So next up, I contour. I used either a cream contour palette or a concealer that is 2 to 3 shades darker, or I use a powder contour palette, which is what I started off with when I first learned to contour. It also comes with highlighting powders. This is a brush that I usually use to apply my contour from e.l.f. And today I'm just gonna show you how I apply my powder contour. So here's a few basic tips for contouring for, beginners. So if you want to know where your jawline is, I usually suck in my cheeks and then start off from the top of my ear and go down on a slant to apply the contour. When contouring, you're basically using darker products, a few shades darker than your actual skin tone, to provide shade to places on your face that you want to provide more definition to, such as your nose, your forehead, your cheek, your jaw, and you just want to look more snatched, Good beginner tip is to just make the number 3 on each side of your face. So I'm making the number 3 and also taking it along my jawline to just provide more definition there. But everyone's contour process is not the same when you go into detail on exactly how to contour, because it really depends on the shape of your face. Another good tip that you should know is that you should make sure wherever you apply contour that you're blending it out very well so it doesn't look muddy. So here I'm using my highlight, and today I'm using the Maybelline Molten Gold one. You see that I'm using a highlighting brush from e.l.f. and it's a little fluffy, so what I'm doing is putting it in, tapping it off, and I'm just applying it on top of the contour. And with highlight, that attracts light to your face and it creates the illusion of brightness over the parts or around the parts that you created that dimension. Then I'm going in with my blush. My blush that I'm using today is from Juvia's Place, and they have different shade in the palette. So I'm gonna go in with these 2 colors. Now I have a good amount of brushes, but I like to take fluffy and soft brushes like this to apply it to my cheeks. Good beginner tip that I learned for applying blush is to put 2 fingers on both sides of your nose and start the blush where that second finger stops, going up on a diagonal slant. Blush emphasizes your cheekbones and it provides color to your cheeks to give a more youthful and alive look, and I love blush. Blush is supposed to go in between the highlight and contour and just supposed to be well blended out so everything is meshed together. So what you see me doing here is just taking a random fluffy brush and just brushing off any excess powder from earlier. And look, you see the color back in my face. And to finish off my look, I'm just going in with a setting spray that moistens my skin, locks in my look, and just makes it last longer. Here you see I applied a cute little lip and my look is basically complete. So now I'm hyped. Now we've reached the end. Let me know down below if these tips were helpful and if there's anything you need me to go in more detail with. But aside from that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe at the end of this video. Now you better go, and I'll see you in the next video.